Hey guys, it's Liko and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my June wrap up. So it's really late and I apologize that this is late. I've been moving for the past 2 weeks. I still have a few things I have to unpack. We've been waiting on this house for about 3 months now, so you've probably been hearing me say, oh, my books are packed up, oh this, oh that, but I have 2 shelves right here that are already done, and I have a few others out there that you can't see. So once I get my my new book outlet box, I'm going to rearrange my shelves again. I'll do a bookshelf tour. I have a list of books right here because I couldn't remember all my points. Everything that I wanted to say in this wrap up. Let's just get into it. So in June I read 10 books. 10. And I only gave 2 of them a 5-star. I don't think I've given any of them a 1-star rating this month, which is good. That's a good month for me. Most of them got 3 stars. The first one that I read was Aftermath by Joe Reyes. Now this is a book by an indie author. I was given a copy of this for free for an honest review, and I read that in the beginning of the month. It's a post-apocalyptic story. The government's trying to reform itself, and then we have like a few rebel clans that are trying to, you know, rebel against the government, and there's a war going on in like 4 or 5 different directions. Some main characters from, you know, each type of side, like each side that they're on, and then they all kind of come together in the end. It's got a lot of gore in it. It's really violent. That doesn't normally bother me so much. It was interesting. There were some grammatical errors in it and there were some spelling mistakes, but overall it was a pretty good story. I gave it a 3-star rating on Goodreads. The only thing that I didn't really like about the story was that some people were captured at the end, and then that was it. The story just ended. I wanted to know more, and I couldn't find out more, and it made me upset, so I gave it a 3-star. The next book I read was a buddy read, and it was Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I think this is her debut novel. I buddy read this with my friend Melissa over at Melissa and Barnesy Read. She has her own read-along group that she posts on Facebook. Our friend Jocelyn suggested this book, so we read it. It's a pretty heavy book. Like, it's pretty dense, but it's really fast to get through. We have the magic pumpkin, we have Elle, her friend, and then we have Darian. So this is a Cinderella retelling, and it's kind of got like the Star Wars, Star Trek vibe thing going on. The show is Starfield, and she is a blogger for the show Starfield, and her dad had passed away and was a huge fan of Starfield, and he made this like con for it like ExcelsiCon, and when her dad passed away she stopped going. She just kind of kept up with her blog. She had the evil stepmother, the stepsisters, you know. And she works in a food truck, which is the Magic Pumpkin, which I think is a really cool concept. Arian, I didn't really like him at first, but he turned out to be a pretty okay guy. The book was super, super cute. The first half of it is a little slow, and then you'll fly through the last half, so I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 stars on Goodreads. The next book I read was Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. This was a buddy read with another one of my friends here on BookTube. Her name is Lisa over at coffeebeans&bookmarks. It's a pretty fast-paced read too. It's about a girl named Juliet who can't touch people because she can hurt them or even kill them if she touches them for a long time. But there are 2 people in her life right now that are immune to her touch, and it's Adam, which is the love interest right now, and then a guy named Warner. So I know a lot of people are shipping Warner and Juliet, but as of right now, I'm shipping Adam and Juliet. Warner seems like a really possessive, creepy guy, and he's not very nice. He made her do some pretty horrible things. I don't really like him right now. So we'll see if that opinion changes later on in the trilogy, but as of right now, nah. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, and I did a review for it on my channel, and I'll link it on the screen. Next book I read was Crescendo by Becca Fitzpatrick. This is the sequel to the Hush Hush story. It is 4 books, or it has 4 books in the whole series. This was pretty good. I was afraid it would have the second book syndrome. It was a little slow at first. I didn't like, you know, how Patch and Nora just broke up, and then Marcy Miller started getting in their way, and then I don't want to really talk too much about this. I've already done a review for this book on my channel. I did end up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'll link my review on the screen. I also listened to an audiobook this month, and it was The Undomestic Goddess by Sophie Kinsella. This is my first novel by Sophie Kinsella that I've read or listened to. It was pretty cute. It was about a lawyer who, a very young lawyer, is getting ready to become a partner, and then she's involved in some sort of like fraud scandal that she has no idea about. So she ends up getting fired because she thinks she made a mistake. And then she kind of goes on a nervous breakdown and leaves to go to the countryside of London and meet some people and becomes their housemaid. And the funny thing is that she is not domestic at all. She can't cook, clean, do laundry, none of that stuff. So she has to learn from the gardener's mother how to do these things so she can keep this job, so she can take a break from being a lawyer. And then she has this like inner conflict of, do I want to go back to London and be a lawyer, or do I want to stay out here because I'm really starting to like it out here? She ends up, you know, falling in love with the gardener, and things happen. But the fraud scandal was pretty cool. She ends up, you know, resolving that, but I don't want to say too much because of spoilers. But this book was so much fun to listen to. There were some like Harry Potter references in it. It made me laugh out loud. It was a really good chick lit book. I've never read a chick lit book before. It was my first one. And I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. You can probably hear my cat fucking off over there. I'm sorry. I also read the Selection series. I read the Selection, the Elite, the One, and I read the novella with the Happily Ever After that, you know, gave the point of views of the guard, Prince Maxon, the Queen, and Marley. I gave the Selection a 5-star rating. I was really surprised that I liked it. I heard mixed reviews on it. I was in a terrible reading slump, and I didn't really want to read anything for the rest of that month, and lo and behold, it got me out of one super quick. I read it in like a day or two, and then I picked up the second one and read it in a day. Then I picked up the third one and I read it in a day. And the novella, I read it over the course of a few days. It wasn't my favorite one, but it was still pretty good. That series is like crack. It's like The Bachelor in a dystopian world. I know it says it's like The Hunger Games and like The Bachelor. I didn't really see it so much as being The Hunger Games because, you know, you're like dying in there. But I do see that it was a dystopian, and then the Selection is carried out to kind of like boost the morale of the people. I didn't exactly like the love triangle that America seemed to be in between Prince Maxon and Legger. Forgot what his first name was. Was it Adam? Oh well, I just kind of felt like it was terrible that she was leading one guy on and then leading the other guy on. It was just make up your damn mind already. But in the end, it did kind of work out for her. The story was awesome. I gave the Selection a 5-star rating. I gave the Elite a 4-star rating. It wasn't as good as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it. I gave the One a 4-star rating because I thought it was a really good ending to the whole trilogy. And I gave the novella bind up, I gave that a 3 stars. The last book that I read this month was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This is also a debut novel. This was my favorite book of this year so far. It's about a girl named Ava Lavender. She's a twin to Henry. She was born with wings. Like, not metaphorical wings, but actual wings. It kind of tells the story of her grandmother, her mother's story, how Ava came to be where she is there in that present moment. There's a lot of peculiar things that happen in the story. Grandmother can see the spirits of her dead siblings. The mother has some traits too, where she can sense things or smell things and know that something's about to happen. Every person that her mother's fallen in love with has died. It's just a really, really interesting story, like with magic. I liked how Ava actually had wings, and she was portrayed as some sort of celebrity when she was born. Her brother was a normal boy, but he seemed to be a little autistic, I guess I would say. He's special. He knows things and doesn't talk very much, and when he does, it's like the same thing over and over again because he's trying to tell his family what he's seeing or what he's having visions of. And it's very, very interesting. It kind of had the whole like Peregrine's like Home for Peculiar Children vibe, but it was better. Ava Lavender is having to deal with a stalker named Nathaniel. He is like absolutely in love with her because he thinks she's an angel, and he's one of those like extreme religious people that kind of becomes crazy. Like he whips himself and is like so obsessed with Ava Lavender that she ends up having a conflict with him in the story. I don't want to give it away. I will be doing a full review of this book probably in the next week if you have read it. And if you haven't read it, I'll do a spoiler-free review for it in the beginning and then a spoilery one in the last half of the video. But this is the best book I've ever read this year. I don't know why it doesn't have so much hype on BookTube like some of the other crappy books that seem to be getting all the hype. This is worth it. You all should go out and buy this book. It's amazing. Thank you all for watching my June wrap-up. I'm sorry that it came out a little late. I am back on a normal filming schedule now, so you'll have all your videos at the correct times. And yeah, I'm gonna sign out and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.